Hey everyone, welcome back. So you guys really seem to want to know more about those drone sightings over New Jersey, and honestly, I can't blame you. I mean, it's pretty wild stuff.
Yeah, definitely one of the more interesting stories we've seen in a while.
So, just to set the stage, right? This all kind of kicked off in mid-November. We started getting these reports of these huge DE drones, not just like your average little buzzing things. I'm talking big boys showing up in the night sky over Jersey.
Right. And initially, it was just kind of scattered reports, right? But then it just exploded, like all over multiple counties.
Exactly. And it didn't even stop there. Like, it started spilling into other states. You had New York, Pennsylvania, Maryland getting in on the action, even sightings as far out as Massachusetts, New Hampshire, Ohio, and even Connecticut. It's like the entire Northeast was suddenly Droneville.
Yeah, the geographic spread is definitely one of the things that makes this so, well, strange. It's not just like one isolated incident, right? This is something happening over a huge area.
Right. And to make it all even weirder, it's not like people are just kind of casually chatting about this on Twitter. Like, this has gotten serious attention. We're talking FBI, Department of Homeland Security, even the New Jersey State Police are all like, what the heck is going on?
Oh, yeah, the official response is definitely noteworthy. And we're not just talking about local law enforcement here. Even the Department of Defense has confirmed these drone sightings, particularly over some of their military bases.
So we're way past, oh, maybe it's just a weird weather balloon territory. This is officially like on the radar of some pretty big players.
Hmm.
And the thing that really makes this whole thing more than just, a curiosity is that these drones aren't just kind of floating around aimlessly. They've actually caused some real disruptions.
Yeah, definitely. We've seen reports of both civilian and military airports having to adjust their operations because of these drones. Think about that for a second. Air traffic control having to reroute planes because of these mystery drones.
Yeah, it's crazy. And the FAA, the Federal Aviation Administration, they haven't just been sitting idly by. They've had to actually step in and issue temporary flight restrictions over certain areas.
Right, like Picatinny Arsenal, for example. That's a major military installation, very sensitive, obviously. And they had to restrict air traffic there because of these drones.
What?
And there was also that temporary flight restriction over, get this, Trump's Bedminster Golf Course. Now, that definitely adds another level of intrigue, shall we say, to the whole situation.
Yeah, intrigue's putting it mildly. So we've got these unidentified drones buzzing around, freaking out everyone from local cops to the friggin' Pentagon, causing air traffic chaos, even giving Trump a flyby. Okay, so at this point, you'd think someone somewhere would be like, okay, it was us. Sorry for the ruckus.
Yeah.
But the crickets are chirping, right?
Yeah, the silence is deafening, almost. I mean, no one's claiming responsibility. That's unusual, to say the least.
Yeah, I mean, if I accidentally flew my drone over a military base, I'd be singing like a canary to the first guy with a badge, right?
Probably a good idea. But seriously, no one is stepping forward. And to make matters even more confusing, the Department of Defense, the DoD, they came out and said something really interesting. They basically said they can't pinpoint who's operating these drones or where they're coming from.
What? They can track down missiles from halfway across the world, but they can't find some drones.
Well, to be fair, they specifically said they can't find the operators or the origin point for the drones flying over their bases, like Picatinny. They didn't say they couldn't find any drones.
Still, I mean, the military usually isn't stumped by this kind of thing, right?
Yeah, they've got all kinds of sophisticated technology, surveillance systems, the whole nine yards. So them coming out and saying that is, well, it definitely raises eyebrows. It suggests that whoever is behind these drones, they've got some pretty advanced tech themselves, tech that can evade even military detection.
Yeah, starting to feel a little, I don't know, Mission Impossible-ish here, right? Ghost protocol, drones instead of masks.
I see your point. But the DoD also added another little nugget of information to the mix. They basically said that they don't actually have the authority to investigate these drones outside of their military installations.
Wait, what? So they can't even go, poke around in New Jersey to see if they can find where these things are coming from?
That's what they're saying. And that statement right there, that's really crucial because if they can investigate beyond their bases, it kind of narrows down the possibilities. It implies that this whole thing, it might actually be coming from a domestic source.
Okay, so let's recap, shall we? We've got unidentified drones, super advanced, silent as the grave about who's running them. Could be aliens, right? Just kidding. We're thinking maybe from inside the U.S. I'm starting to feel like I need a tinfoil hat over here,
Yeah, I wouldn't go that far just yet. But it's true, this whole thing is a bit unsettling. No one's claiming these drones they're sophisticated enough to avoid even the military's watchful eye, and it's looking more and more like this could be someone operating within the United States. Like a real-life spy thriller.
Right. Like, are we going to find Jason Bourne hiding out in a New Jersey suburb,
Hmm.
programming these things?
Hmm.
But seriously, what are the theories? Right. Someone's got to have some idea about what's going on here.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, as with any good mystery, there are a bunch of theories floating around out there. Let's start with the most basic one, right? Misidentified aircraft. Could it be that some, maybe even a lot of these sightings are just people seeing things in the sky, lights, planes, whatever, and thinking they're drones? Sure, it's possible.
Right. I mean, it's dark out there. People see a blinking light. Boom. Instant alien invasion, right? Happens all the time.
Exactly. And look, there's a whole psychological phenomenon called confirmation bias, where once an idea gets into your head, you start seeing it everywhere. So maybe after the first couple of drone reports, every weird light in the sky suddenly becomes a drone.
Right. So maybe it's all just a big misunderstanding, right? Case closed. Everyone go home.
Well, not so fast. I mean, while misidentification and confirmation bias could definitely account for some of the sightings, it's kind of hard to explain everything away with that theory, especially with the official response.
Yeah, you're right. Like, the FAA wouldn't be shutting down airspace because of a few people mistaking a planet for a drone. Yeah.
Exactly. And the DoD wouldn't be saying they can't find the operators if it was just like a bunch of kids with glow sticks, right? So there's got to be more to it than just mistaken identity.
Okay, so misidentified aircraft, off the table. What else? Come on, give me some juicy conspiracy theories.
All right, well, one that always seems to pop up in these situations, secret government operations. Maybe some super secret agencies testing out some new top secret drone tech.
I mean, Area 51 East, right here in Jersey. I'm down with that.
Well, it's a popular idea for sure, but if it were a government agency, which one? And why operate with such secrecy, especially when it's causing so much disruption?
Yeah, like they're literally messing with airport operations. You think the government would want to deal with that headache?
It seems unlikely. I mean, the level of disruption, particularly to airports, it just seems counterproductive for any government agency, no matter how secret their project.
Okay, so government ops, probably not.
Yeah.
What about like some big corporation, right? Maybe Amazon's finally perfecting those delivery drones and they're just doing a really, really bad job of keeping it quiet?
Commercial operations, yeah. It's a possibility, I guess. Maybe some company is testing out some new drone tech, trying to get a leg up on the competition.
Right, industrial espionage, drone edition. Sounds like a good movie plot.
Maybe. But again, the level of secrecy and the disruption caused, it just raises a lot of questions. What kind of commercial operation requires this level of stealth? I mean, they're risking interfering with airspace, potentially causing accidents.
Yeah, that's a lot of risk for just like testing a new drone design.
Yeah.
That doesn't really add up.
So let's see. We've ruled out misidentified aircraft, mass hysteria, secret government ops, and even commercial testing. What's left?
But come on, I'm running out of fingers here.
Okay, well, there's one option we haven't really talked about yet. It's the one that maybe everyone's thinking, but no one wants to say out loud.
You mean?
Yeah. Foreign adversaries.
Oh, okay, now things are getting serious. Like, are we talking spy drones, espionage? Are they trying to, like, map out our defenses or something?
Well, the DoD, they haven't really addressed that possibility directly. They seem to be downplaying it, but they haven't ruled it out completely either.
I mean, that makes sense, right? They don't want to start a panic saying that, like, Russia or China are sending drones to spy on us. But realistically, it has to be on the table, right?
It has to be, because if it were a foreign adversary behind these drone flights, it would be a huge deal. It would mean a significant intelligence breach, potentially a security threat.
Okay, so for a second, let's just, like, step back from all the theories and official statements.
Okay.
Let's pretend you're just, like, a regular person living in one of these areas where these drones have been spotted. It's nighttime. You're looking out your window, and you see these things in the sky. No one knows what they are, who's flying them, what they're doing. How would you feel, honestly?
I think anyone would feel at least a little uneasy. I mean, there's a natural human instinct to want to understand what's going on around you.
Right.
And when we're confronted with something we can't explain, something unknown, it can trigger fear, anxiety.
Yeah, totally. Like, that's the stuff of nightmares, right? Strange lights in the sky, no explanation. It's like something out of a sci-fi movie, but it's happening in your backyard.
It's definitely unsettling. And the lack of information, the lack of answers, it just adds to that feeling of unease. People want to know what they're dealing with, if they should be worried, what they should do.
Right. And that's the thing that gets me, like, why isn't anyone giving us any real answers? I mean, the authorities, the government, they got to see that people are freaking out, right? What would it take for them to actually address this seriously and tell us what's going on?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? I mean, what would it take to get some real answers? Maybe more concrete evidence, something that definitively proves these drones are a threat. Maybe even an escalation in the drone activity itself. Something that forces their hand.
It's crazy, right? We're just kind of sitting here waiting for something to happen, hoping it's not something bad.
It's a weird situation, no doubt.
So what are we left with? We've got these unidentified drones, advanced enough to make the military scratch their heads, operating all over the place, and no one's taking responsibility. It's a mystery wrapped in an enigma inside well, a drone, I guess.
Right. It's definitely a puzzle. And maybe the most disturbing part is that the most likely explanations, they all seem to have holes in them. Misidentification. Not enough to explain everything. Government operation. Unlikely given the disruption. Commercial testing. Too risky. Too secretive. And then we're left with the possibility of foreign adversaries, which is, well, that's a whole other can of worms.
And it all circles back to that statement from the DoD. They can't find the operators, they can't investigate off base, and it all points to the possibility that this is domestic. So that means someone or some organization within the United States has the capability to build and operate these super advanced drones, keep it all hush-hush, and cause all this chaos without anyone batting an eye. That's like scary levels of power and secrecy.
It's definitely something to think about. Who or what has that kind of capability, and what are their motives? That's the question I'd leave you with. What's the end game here?
It's a question we all want to know the answer to. And this is a story that's far from over, folks. I have a feeling we're going to be talking about this for a while. Keep your eyes on the skies, and maybe, just maybe, one of you listening out there will be the one to crack this case wide open.
I'd say that's possible. We'll keep digging, and we'll keep you updated. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.
Until next time.